Hey guys, let me show you a couple of trades that I took today and show you a common strategy that a lot of traders that do things like Topstep and do their combines use. A lot of the more successful traders that get funded accounts. This is one of the strategies that's very popular, and that is trading against VWAP and a two standard deviation of VWAP, which is a good strategy. I like to use it to find a spot on the chart and then look for another pattern to set up. Not just use VWAP, but you can see, and I can show you how to set it up. I'll take it off, and you go to indicators, VWAP, volume weighted, average price. You want to put that on your chart. And then what you want to do is go to VWAP here under settings and use under inputs two standard deviations. So take off the 1, which is the default, and you want to click 2 again to get 2 standard deviations away from VWAP. I usually, on my charts, I make the line white. So there's VWAP under style. I just make mine white so I can easily see it with my other simple moving averages. So you can see during the day, the market trades around VWAP and goes to 2 standard deviations away, back to VWAP, a little below, back to 2 standard deviations away, back to VWAP. So again, it's not a bad strategy in general to trade using VWAP and 2 standard deviations. This is what I saw in the afternoon, beginning of the afternoon, was this top and then a higher high and then an attempt, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see it, an attempt to move higher at this point, and this candle in particular with the topping tail made it look a little bit like the beginning of a head and shoulders pattern, and it was happening right around the 20. And to me, it looked like it was getting ready to roll over, right? And it was at that 2 standard deviations away from VWAP. So I thought this was a decent trade to take. If you didn't take a short here as it started to roll, then you could have taken a short, and this is a setup that I've talked about in my other videos, right? A power bar move, these 3 to 4 bars combined, really, a power bar move that breaks through support, which is here, and then a move back to the 20 and another break of support here. So if you missed this first roll when we were at 2 standard deviations away from VWAP, if you missed that, you had a second opportunity to get short here. And then you can see your target is basically VWAP. Again, if you're using that 2 standard deviations away. And it's also support. When you look back here, this was last support. That's your target on the move lower. So that's the first trade. The second trade, and this is something, again, that I usually don't have an RSI indicator on my charts throughout the day. But if I see a move like this, if I see a rapid move lower, then I'm going to throw on an RSI indicator. And I use the RSI Divergence indicator in TradingView. But what I do when I put this indicator on is I take off these labels. Because I really don't want the software telling me where the divergences are. The first divergence, which wasn't an extreme divergence, but it took place basically here. And what was happening was you had a low put in by the market, a bounce, and then a new low here. And the RSI kinda made a new low, but basically it was even. And I took that as a playable bounce. It was a little on the line, which I realized, and I did have a tight stop underneath of this candle. But this was a playable bounce, I thought. Again, not perfect for an RSI positive divergence, right? RSI here and here was about the same, and it was actually a teeny tiny bit lower. So it wasn't a positive divergence, but close enough for me on that trade. Where you did get a positive divergence and a little bit easier, I'll tell you why I thought it was easier, trade just a little bit later was here. So you basically had RSI slightly higher from this 230 point, and this was around, just a little after 3. RSI was slightly higher, and which made a positive divergence. But you also had, in combination with that positive divergence, a bottoming tail, right? Here, you have a little bit of a bottoming tail, but it's much nicer to have a bottoming tail like this with a small body and a long tail than this large body and a smaller tail compared to the body. So you had a nice bottoming tail, and basically your buy trigger for me, my buy trigger is above now this second candle, right? I get confirmation of the bottoming tail candle. I've got the positive RSI divergence, so it's a little bit higher here, and that's the buy point. And you're also outside of, let me go back, you're outside of the 2 standard deviations from VWAP. And again, if you're using this strategy, this VWAP strategy, then your target is back to VWAP once you start an uptrend at that point. You also had kind of a trade within a trade here. We cleared the 20, which is the red line here, cleared the 20, pulled back to the 20, and then had a power bar move, which cleared this resistance. That's another buy trigger. So you had sort of multiple bullish signals, RSI, bottoming tail, 2 standard deviations away from VWAP, so oversold. And then you had a buy trigger here. This was also a 1, 2, 3 here. So, another buy setup was taking place here. The only thing that's not great about this buy setup is that it's right into resistance. And that's why we had this little pullback and then a move through this resistance, this very close resistance, as well as this resistance. So those are the trades. Like I said, it was, I guess, more than 2 trades that were takeable, again, using VWAP, 2 standard deviations, using the 20 here on this trade, using a sort of head and shoulders pattern here on this trade, combined with the 2 standard deviation VWAP, also using the bullish divergence, the positive divergence here in RSI. So I thought these trades were, I won't say easy, but fairly easy to spot and all takeable today using technical analysis. So that's it for me. That's again some of the trades I took today. Give you an idea of what I'm looking at when I'm trading. I hope it's helpful to you. If it is, please like and subscribe, and I'll do more of these videos going forward. Thanks.